You're listening to the Good Question Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Our goal is to make each of our guests exclaim, that's a good question. I don't know the answer. Because when that happens, it means you, the listener, may be inspired to learn more beyond the interview and to ask great questions yourself that lead to new insights. In this podcast, we cover historical and current anthropology, comparative religion, and history. Welcome, and let's get started.
Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Good Question Podcast. My guest today is Ariana Hakman. She's the founder and COO of LunaFit. The website is lunafitapp.com, also lunafit.com, and Luna is L-U-N-A, like the moon. So welcome to the call, Ariana. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you and your audience today.
Yeah, tell me a bit about your fitness journey. You know, usually when people work in an area, they've had a lot of time and effort working in that area to help themselves, and then they want to help others. So what's your backstory?
Yeah, my background's kind of a little bit different than kind of the traditional story. I don't have any huge, fitness or weight loss journey that I've been on in particular. I think really what happened with me is I've just kind of grown up around health and fitness. So my mom was a dietitian by trade, and my dad is 74 and still has a six-pack. So I grew up around health and fitness, very honestly.
Is your dad that guy in all the commercials that with the gray hair that still has the six-pack and looks amazing?
Yeah, that's him for sure. He doesn't have hair. I will say the hair was taken from him, but the rest, absolutely.
That's really cool, though. That's a really amazing thing to look up to. I'm not trying to turn this any other direction, but I have a lot of respect for people 50, 60, 70, 80 that are still working out and doing well. It's not easy. So hats off to your dad,
Yeah, I totally agree. And so I actually, work-wise, my background is actually in finance. I have an accounting degree and an MBA. I got recruited out of college to work for a large healthcare company in the Orlando area. And so I went to work there and worked there for about 15 years in finance and operations. And I just saw so much just waste and expense and people that were sick that didn't need to be sick. And, when I really started researching it, the healthcare industry in America is a $4.2 trillion industry. When I was talking to my daughter about that, she was like, is trillion more than billion? And I was like, yes. And she's like, is that a real number? And I'm like, yes, unfortunately, it is. And when you break that down, about 25% of that, so $1 trillion, is from a lot of things that are caused by a lack of health, being overweight, being unhealthy, heart disease, diabetes, certain types of cancer, and then literally a category called obesity-caused illnesses. And I just saw that firsthand working in healthcare. And after I had my daughter, her name is Luna. That's where the name for the business came through. I just was working so much, and I just kind of wanted something different for my life. A nanny was raising my kid, and I thought it was weird. Like, why do I have a kid? So I quit. And when I quit, I was like, what in the world am I going to do now? And so I just leaned on kind of my background of really liking health and fitness. And I started doing Mommy and Me classes with my daughter and teaching women how to lose weight through nutrition. And it's just really grown from there. My husband and I ended up buying a gym eventually, and we've expanded that. We started a meal prep company, a supplement company, and then our real passion that we're actually launching this month is our fitness app, because I think that makes it so much more attainable to so many more people.
Okay. What's the app about? How is it different from other apps? Like, what's the focus of it?
Yeah, so I think what we really wanted to do is take what we've used to help people kind of overcome these weight issues and, the chronic diseases that are attached to them, and make it simple. I think there's so much information out there. The food industry spends billions of dollars promoting sugary and high processed foods and calling them healthy options. And it's just really complicated if you're trying to improve your health on your own, I think, in America. So we really wanted to do what we do with our in-person clients, making it simple, making basic habit changes, and make that easy and fun for other people. So we call the 5 simple steps to kind of jumpstart your journey. And those 5 simple steps are our 5 pillars of health in our app. And basically by just making simple changes around just moving your body more, eating better, lifting some weights, getting sleep, and staying hydrated, we've found that that can make incredible changes in people's lives. And it doesn't have to be complicated or awful. You don't have to be in the gym 7 days a week. And, just some of the things that we're told that we have to do to live a healthy life. But a lot of times when you make it so extreme, people don't want to do it.
What's your focus? Is it people of a certain age? Is it men or women? Or is it all comers?
So we do have an actual brick and mortar health and fitness center in Florida. And I think just by the people that are really trying to improve their health, we end up with people anywhere from their 30s to their 50s, most of the time, men and women. I think it's a good combination of both. That are really looking to kind of improve their health, feel better, look better, have a better body composition, and get rid of some of the things like high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, and some of the things that they've found out about when they go to see their doctor, and then they come looking for a way to improve that without being on a bunch of medications. So it's for everybody, but when you look at kind of our target market of who's really looking for change, it's typically that middle age range.
Well, what are some common stories that you hear of people that, when they tell you why they've come to you?
A lot of it is like they went to their doctor and their doctor's like, you have to improve your health or you're going to be really sick and die. We do get some of those. And then you get some of the more things like I want to be able to keep up with my kids. I want to fit into a dress for a certain occasion, or really just coming to a realization that they don't want to be unhealthy. They want to feel better. They want to look better. They want to have more self-confidence. It's really kind of across the board. I think everybody has a different aha moment. I had my most memorable client for me. She was actually a nurse at the hospital, and she came to train with me right after I had left there when I first started personal training. And she had quite a bit of weight to lose, and she was just in a place in her life where she was just unhappy. She was in her 20s. She was definitely obese. She had good friends, but she'd never had a boyfriend. She didn't feel secure enough going out to date or do anything like that, and she just wanted more for her life. So, we really started working on just, again, simple changes. She was obviously active because she was a nurse. She got plenty of steps in for the day. That wasn't a concern. But, she was eating wrong. She wasn't lifting weights. She wasn't getting enough water in the day. And so we started to make those small changes. And she ended up losing over a couple of years, about 150 pounds with me. And well, I think kind of the epitome of, okay, this is definitely what I meant to do and what I love doing, and how many more people can I reach doing this? She, met a guy while we were training, and she felt confident enough to go out on some dates with him. And then a while after she had stopped training with me and she was maintaining really well, she actually invited me to her wedding. So I got to go to her wedding, and so she was beautiful in her dress, and it was just such a cool thing. And it's just really one of those things where you're like, okay, like, I can actually do this. I can impact people's lives. I can, change things for people. And I think kind of what led us to the app outside of the health and fitness center, because we have hundreds of transformation stories now from inside of our fitness center, but we want more. We want thousands. We want, how many can we get to? And during COVID, we were forced to shut down, obviously, and we took our program online. So text messages, emails, we live streamed fitness classes through our Facebook member group. We rented out our equipment to our members so that they would have weights and balls and things like that at home while they were forced to work out from home. But it kind of just opened our eyes to, man, like, if we can do this online, then we could probably do it in an app, and then we could really help a lot more people figure out how to crack this health and fitness journey nut. That seems so difficult sometimes.
So what are, what are the things that hold people back? Are they literally ashamed that they're not in shape, and does that hold them back from even trying? Or like, what do you see?
I think honestly, it's a combination of just habits they've grown up with. So I think they, no one's ever taught them how to eat healthy or what they should do to even work out. So a lack of information. And then when they go looking, I think it's an overwhelm of information. I mean, if I Googled now what diet I should use to lose weight, you'd get 20 different things that would come up. And so I think it gets confusing. And then I think one of the things that I hear the most is people get frustrated because they think they have to do so much at one time. So they think that they have to give up every food they like, be in the gym, 6 days a week, and just do so much to make change that they get frustrated and they quit. But really, just some simple habit changes, and even starting with one and then building upon that, can really make a big difference. And so I think what we've really focused on at LunaFit and in the app is setting goals for people around 5 simple things that they can do that will really be life-changing, that can really eliminate, a lot of the chronic diseases and things that are plaguing people and just not feeling good in general, just by doing some simple things. So I think to answer your question, I think it's just too much information and not enough knowledge.
Okay. Well, what's the easiest of the 5? What's the hardest of the 5? Is it different for different people?
I think it's very different for different people. So I'm kind of an anomaly in the fitness industry. So I do work out. I try to do it consistently because consistency is the key to life in anything, I feel like. But I have a much easier time balancing my nutrition. So for me, I focus a lot more on the food and things like that. But from the people that come in, typically nutrition is the hardest one. I think it's really hard for people to grasp kind of the fact that they can't have a cheat weekend. So if you eat great 5 days a week and then you blow it the other 2, you're never going to make progress. That's not enough. You can have a cheat meal, you can have the foods you like, but if you're, eating perfect 5 days a week and then you go out and you are drinking all weekend and eating fried food and all of that, you really can't make any progress like that. You can't even outwork that in the gym, typically speaking. So maybe in your 20s. But once you're past that, it's gonna be really tough. I don't know if it's the simplest one, but I think the one that people should really focus on, if they only pick one, is movement, tracking your steps. So we found that with almost everybody, the key to actually dropping body fat and losing weight is really just being active. The average American spends 7 hours a day sitting. And when you're sitting that much, you're not moving enough. So if you can set a goal for yourself of getting, 7 to 10,000 steps in a day, that would be life-changing. Park further away from the store, take the stairs, on your lunch break, walk. Just doing some really simple things to get more movement in makes a huge difference.
Yeah, so diet seems to be the hardest for everybody. What is it about diet? Is it that they're just used to having a sweet tooth and, maybe the first few weeks are really difficult, or is diet seeming to be a never-ending challenge that, like the sirens call of bad food constantly over months or years? Like, what is the experience like for people in terms of nutrition that you see?
I think it's an ongoing struggle for most people. I think that just the amount of processed foods and added sugars and unhealthy fats that are, in a lot of food that's sold in our stores. And even when you get into going out, the portions are huge. They're typically using tons of fats to make their foods. So if you're, eating foods that you're not making, even if you think you're eating healthy, it's probably not as good as you would want it to be. So I think that people also want to socialize, and food is such a social thing for our culture. Anytime you go to a party, you have party foods. Well, what are party foods? They're usually high fat or high sugar foods. And so you really have to be willing to be different most of the time. When you go out to eat, not eating the whole plate. When you go to a party, taking your own food or eating before you go. I think that it's just really difficult. And then people have cravings, typically because they're not getting enough protein or they're dehydrated or they're not getting enough sleep. All 3 of those things can drive people to food craving, even outside of just cravings of foods that we want to eat because we like them. So I think that really pushes people to eat poor foods as well. And then a lack of time. So a lack of time contributes to not having enough time to cook your own food or meal prep, but it also leads you to grab what's fast, or you don't eat all day and then you're so starving at night that you're overeating and probably consuming things that aren't as good for you. So I think there's so many things that drive it. It's really hard. It really is hard. Like, I feel for people around the nutrition. I mean, it really is a big change that you have to make. The thing that we try to do to kind of simplify it for people is just to have them focus on their protein. So if, we can give people a goal of 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight, and they just hit that every day, it's going to do a few things. Balance their blood sugar if they get that much protein in, help them feel fuller so they won't reach for as many foods that are bad for them, and then just leads to being able to maintain muscle. And people don't necessarily understand either why you want to have muscle, but muscle is what builds your metabolism and burns calories. So I always, especially my women, I'm always like, okay, listen, you want muscle. Muscle is what lets you eat more. So more muscle, more food.
Are the women worried about putting on too much muscle, or are they worried about looking bulky, or What is it about muscle in women that seems unattainable?
Yeah, I think a lot of women have the fear that if they, especially those who've never lifted weights, and never done anything besides, cardio, which is great for heart health, but definitely isn't what you want to do as far as changing your body composition necessarily or burning fat. So they'll come in and they'll be like, little 5-pound weights. It's like, no, like you can go a little heavier, and then they get worried that they're going to be bulky, but people just don't understand that it's really actually hard to put muscle on. Like you really have to try. So if you can bulk up that easily, like you've missed your calling and you should do something in fitness, because it's actually really hard to put muscle on. It takes people a lot of time and effort and very specific eating and exercise to even do that. So bulkiness won't come from putting muscle on. Most women, if they, eat a good amount of protein and lift some weights, they're going to look a lot better in their clothes. They're going to feel better. They're going to be able to eat more and not have to be in such a deficit all the time. And it's just all around better for them. So once they get in, we usually ask people for 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, just give us 4 to 6 weeks. It's a really short time period in your life. If you hate the results at the end, then we promise, we'll fix it for you. But, we pretty much guarantee that they're going to be really happy with what happens if they listen to us in the first 4 to 6 weeks.
No, that's great. Well, what about older people? Is there an age, beyond which it's very difficult to even maintain muscle or difficult to get in shape? Is there any limit that you see?
I think there has to be. To me, sometimes that comes down to almost like a pain tolerance, because the older you get, the more it does hurt to work out. But on the nutrition side, it's never too late to change what you eat and change your insides. Our bodies are so dynamic and adaptable. Changing what you eat really will work at any age. And as long as you start slow and I recommend anyone older that hasn't worked out or is trying to lose a lot of weight that they do find a trainer or someone to kind of help them, to make sure they don't get injured, because injury is the number one reason that, you have to quit and you can't keep going. So, the goal is always to prevent injury. So for people to start slow and ease into it if they're, a little bit older, but I think anyone can do it.
Yeah, how old are some of the oldest people that have used your app or that you trained with?
Yeah, we have people all the way into their 80s in our fitness center. So, you really can do it at any age. And we have quite a few people in their 60s that do great. I mean, you would never know it. They're working out just like everybody else. They're eating well, and they're battling aging, right? They're trying to age well. And to me, it's about extending your quality of life. So I don't mind aging, but I do want to age well. And for me, that means my quality of life being really good into an extended age. So I think that's what, eating healthy and staying in good shape and using your body well is all about, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't see any, women, post-menopause or in menopause, any special things that they have to consider, or again, people of a certain age or circumstance? Are there any, clients that you really need like special hand holding or, a very unique way of working out, a very slow way of doing it in order to succeed?
I think as much on the workout side. I think as long as people can come, I mean, unless they have an injury. So injury is the number one reason why you kind of have to come in a little bit slower than other times. But other than that, as long as people can take the pain, we say the first 2 weeks, like the first 2 weeks is the hardest. If you can get past the soreness and keep going through that tough period, and that's for anybody. So I actually just went through a time where I didn't work out very much for about 3 months, and my first 2 weeks back was painful. So it doesn't really matter how good a shape you're in or what age you are. If you take a break for a long time and you get back into it, it's going to hurt. But for working out, as long as you can push past that, I think anyone can do it. And maybe with, modifications and, you're not going in and lifting 50-pound weights over your head or anything like that. But it doesn't take that much to get done what you need to get done. On the nutrition side, I feel like it's a little bit different. There are a lot of autoimmune diseases out there and thyroid issues and things like that do call for some changes in how you work someone into, a healthier lifestyle diet. But it also makes even more of a difference for them, I think, in the way that they feel and their quality of life. But a lot of people as well come in and they think they have thyroid issues or, like you said, menopause is affecting, their weight loss. And hormones are a huge thing, yes. But if you're doing all the right things around nutrition and movement and exercise, you can overcome a lot of those without medications or any really intervention.
Have you had people come off their medications, of course with doctor's permission, but Have you had people really clean up that side of their life through exercise?
A lot. We have a lot of stories, especially with diabetes. We've had a lot of people that just changing their nutrition and coming in and working out 2 or 3 times a week and being more active are able to get off of insulin and really not even show up as being diabetic anymore. So that's the number one thing that I kind of try to target. We're even in our meal prep company, we're even trying to branch out into medically tailored meals specifically for that population, to where they can use some of their FSA and HSA to pay for that, to really help, because that's a huge population that has a lot of healthcare expenses, and it's almost entirely caused by lifestyle. So that's one population that I have a real passion for helping. But we've also had people get off of blood pressure medication and other things that they've had to take for years, and just changing their lifestyle. They're able to, obviously work with their doctor, like you said, and wean off of those and not be on them anymore, which is healthier for all of us. The less medications we can take, the better off we are across the board.
What does your daughter think of the app being named after her? Does she like it, or is she cringe?
All of our businesses have her name on them. She's the reason we started it, so it definitely is fitting. And she calls herself the CEO. So, and she's very she does. She spends a lot of time here. She's actually here in the building now, I think, doing her homework. And she's very entrepreneurial minded. She's started a tattoo shop in our gym. So she got a little tattoo kit and started doing tattoos for people here. Body ink. She walks dogs with one of her friends around the neighborhood. My dad follows them around in the car because she's too young to be alone. But she's very business minded. She understands the business. Cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it is. I think sometimes I feel bad for the way she's growing up. Just the typical mom guilt of how much we work and how much we're here. But I think all around, it's just a good experience for her. And whether she's here or other places with us, she's very engaged. So I think it's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
What are some unique or interesting features of the app? Does it take the place of training with you, app only, or how does the app fit in?
Yeah, it definitely can. So it's meant to be standalone. So like I said, our 5 pillars are kind of the main hub of the app. So we're going to create personalized plans and goals around how much water you should drink, give you a workout plan, a personalized nutrition plan, tracks your sleep and also your steps, and that'll link to your wearable outside. So that's kind of the hub of the app, but has a lot of cool features. We definitely, so like I'm an avatar in the app. So is my husband. So we'll actually coach you. So you get to choose your coach, and we actually integrate the pillars together. So let's say that you haven't logged any meals for the day and you go to do a workout in the app. I would actually pop up as your coach and be like, hey, have you eaten today? You might want to at least grab a snack before you get into this workout, or you're not going to feel well. So we really integrated everything. Same with if you haven't gotten a lot of sleep, we'll recommend a less strenuous workout. So we've really tried to tie it all together. I call it the only app that actually cares about you because we actually pay attention to what you log and what you've done, and your plan will actually adjust based on it. So a lot of AI aspects. And then to me also, we have a really fun part where you actually earn moon rocks when you log or hit your goals, and you're able to use those moon rocks rewards to get discounts on cool fitness products and things like that. So we've tried to make it as engaging as possible. We want, health and fitness to be fun, but also to be something that people learn more about. So a lot of the coaching tips are helping you understand why. Why do I need to eat that much protein? Why do I need to, walk 10,000 steps a day? So really trying to engage people in the process, but also have grace for them. You're not going to hit every goal every day, and that's okay too. We can adjust your plan and move forward. The main thing that we want people to focus on is consistency. So just do your best every day and be consistent with what you can, even if you start with trying to hit 1 or 2 goals at a time, and just keep going, because that's going to generate the biggest change.
Well, very good. Where can people download the app and ask questions and interact with you?
Yeah, so they can go to lunafitjourney.com. I actually have a free gift for them there. It's the Jumpstart Your Fitness 5 Simple Steps. And if they download that, it'll be a great start for them. And then they're also going to receive information on the app. If they want to find out more about the app right now, they can go to lunafitapp.com as well. So, but I would definitely recommend they go to lunafitjourney.com because the guide will be super helpful for them. And I created it because, so many people come to us with failure after failure to lose weight or improve their health because it seems so hard. And this really simplifies it and breaks it down and makes it a more rewarding process.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I had a great time.
Thank you for listening to the Good Question Podcast. Please email support@thegoodquestionpodcast.com if you have any referrals to great guests for us to interview. Visit thegoodquestionpodcast.com to hear more interviews. And please help us spread the word by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to this podcast.